You've seen the red warning text in your dashboard, limited by budget. Google's recommendation, increase your spend by $2,000 and you'll get 5 more clicks. The problem is you don't have $2,000 more dollars. So what should you do? The reality is budgets have become a lot tougher in Google Ads in 2026. You need to spend a lot more to get results that actually work for your business. So if you're starting with $500 a month, you're probably not actually running a very effective ad campaign. It's going to be limited by budget. So what do? I'm Jack Hepp. I've spent more than 10 years working with local businesses to help them get the most out of Google Ads. And today on Jack of All Ads, let's go into Google Ads budget and what that limited by budget warning actually means. Budgets are by far the biggest challenge for local businesses. So first, let's go into what a budget for Google Ads should actually be. Now, this is kind of my general rule for finding your minimum budget, and it's going to be very different for every business. But in general, you want to get at least 10 clicks per day in your Google Ads account. So let's say that your average cost per click is $15. That means you're going to be needing to spend at least $150 a day, which is going to be $4,500 a month. That's just enough data that you're going to drive a realistic conversion rate, get the conversions that you need to make smart bidding effective, and make your campaign actually competitive. And that's going to be very different. So let's say your average CPC is only $5 or $6. Well, you might be able to get away with spending $50 or $60 per day. But if your average CPC is $50, then you're going to have to be spending $500 a day. So it's going to really vary, but that's kind of a good general rule to help you decide what your budget should be. So now what do you do if you can't hit that minimum? To be honest, you might not want to be running Google Ads. Your ads need to serve enough and you need to capture enough of the search impression share that your campaigns have the chance to be effective. If your budget's so limited that you're getting 1 or 2 clicks in the morning and then your ads aren't serving the rest of the day, you're not going to be able to capture the high intent traffic that comes in the afternoon or evening. And so if you can't hit a minimum budget that's realistic for your industry, it might be just best to wait on Google Ads until you actually have the budget to spend. Okay, so now let's shift. What should you do when you see that limited by budget warning in your account? First of all, you honestly may not need to do anything. If your performance is good, Google is basically just telling you that your budgets are limited, and so your ads are not spending throughout the whole day. Your ads are being limited by budget and you are potentially missing out on traffic that could generate more results for your business. But if performance is good, maybe you don't need to worry about that. I have lots of campaigns that run with a limited by budget warning, and it's not the end of the world. Now, you know that there's probably potential opportunity out there and you could potentially look at spending more, but if things are going well, maybe you don't need to make a change. Now, in the other scenario where you see that limited by budget warning and performance isn't as good as you need it to be, you're going to need to make some changes in your account. So let's talk about what you can do to help fix that warning. First off, you're going to want to start by shrinking what you're doing. If your campaigns are limited by budget and you don't have more budget, you need to reduce how spread out your budget is so that you can try to limit in and capture the full amount of impressions that are available at the budget that you have available to spend. So if you're only spending $2,000 or $3,000, you don't want 4 different campaigns running with all of them being limited. None of them have enough data to learn. They're all getting capped out early, and you're missing out on potential high value traffic that could actually convert and become your customers. So pick your best service or products or whatever it is, pick what's best first. Pick the thing that is the most profitable and has the highest closing rate, the thing that you're most likely to turn somebody into a customer for. Put 100% of your budget there. Now you can dominate that specific service area and you can make sure that you're capturing all the high intent traffic that actually exists. From there, stay away from exploratory keywords. Stay away from the areas where people are just researching answers to their questions. Something like plumbing ideas or HVAC tips, or even really general keywords such as plumber or HVAC technician. Those sorts of broad or exploratory keywords are probably, they're going to greatly expand your reach, and you're not going to have the budget to capture the high intent that might be in there. So focus on high intent, exact match, phrase match keywords that allow you to narrow in on the people that are most likely to convert. So you're going to want to focus on things like HVAC replacement near me, or best restaurants in my town, or something along those lines where it's a little bit longer of a keyword, it has a lot higher intent, and you're much more likely to be able to capture all the search volume so that you don't miss out on high value traffic. The next thing you should look at doing is reducing the location you're targeting. Every time you expand the area that your campaigns are targeting, you're reaching more people. That means more search volume. That means more budget required to capture that. So maybe instead of focusing on the entire state that you service, you start by focusing on your biggest market within that state. Or instead of targeting 5 zip codes, you focus on the 2 or 3 where your best customers tend to live. Focusing on the areas where you're most likely to be able to turn those people into customers, and you are able to capture the full amount of impression share available. If you're not capturing all of that, all of those impressions, you're missing out on those high value, high intent searches, and those people are not going to convert and become your customers. The other thing to always make sure you check with locations is make sure all your locations are set to presence only. You don't want to be serving with Google's default presence and interest targeting option, because your ads are going to be expanding way out beyond the area that you actually want to target. The biggest thing is I'd rather that you were number 1 in 2 or 3 zip codes than being number 4 or 5 in 30 zip codes. Focus in on the areas that are going to work for your business, and that's where you're going to find the most success. Now, one of the next things that you can look at doing if you're still limited by budget is adding in audience layers to your campaigns. Now, typically when you add audience segments, you'll set them in observation mode. This lets you view the data breakdown and see which audiences are most likely to become customers. Now, if your campaigns are really limited, you can consider changing those from observation to targeting. Now you'll be able to focus in on those people and those audiences that are most likely to become your customers. So for example, if you're a home service business and you are obviously only focusing on homeowners, you might want to target homeowners only and not include renters in your audience targeting. Or maybe you're adding in some sort of in-market audience option. The thing to be careful with here is you can get too aggressive. If you are limited by budget and you add too many audience and you add too many target audiences, you're going to limit your campaign so much that now you can't reach anybody. Your campaign is going to struggle to serve and be successful because the audience is too small. So this is something that you should do very carefully. Really pay attention to what audiences that you're cutting out. Maybe it's ages that you're eliminating or something like that. But this is something that you want to do slowly and carefully, and then watch how it impacts the performance in your account. Don't just go layer in a ton of audiences and limit your campaigns way down. You're much more likely just to hurt your campaign performance overall and continue to struggle. Now, another option you can look at is to do what's often called day parting, or adding an ad schedule to your account. All the campaigns have an ad schedule, and you can set your campaign so that it won't serve after certain times. So maybe your business is closed after 6 p.m. and nobody's going to be answering the phone. You don't have an answering service or anything like that, and you don't want people clicking to call your business at that time. So maybe you schedule your ads to only run from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Or you look at excluding night hours or early morning hours or things of that nature. This can help you kind of eliminate some of the extra clicks that happen outside of your normal business hours. And again, it reduces the number of searches that you're eligible for and makes your budget much less likely to be limited. Now, again, remember, when you're using something like this, your ads aren't going to be serving when somebody's searching at 8 p.m. So if you're a plumber and somebody's searching for plumbing services at 9 o'clock at night and your ad stops serving at 6 o'clock, you're going to miss out on those searches. So again, this is something that can really impact the performance of your account, and you want to be very careful about how much you use this. It can be effective, and if you're limited and your ads are stopping serving early in the morning anyways, this may be something that makes sense for your business, but take it carefully. Now, let's say you are running on Google Ads, your performance is really bad, but you know your customers are there and you still want to reach them. There is one other thing you can try, and that's changing the type of conversion that you're trying to get people. So if you're a local service business, it can be really hard and expensive to get somebody to convert for a inspection of their roof or on a replacement of their HVAC system. Instead, what you can try to do is offer some sort of low value, low friction offer that they might be much more likely to convert on. So maybe you offer some sort of maintenance checkup or a really low value sort of maintenance package that people can purchase. Or maybe you have a planning guide that somebody can download, or some other sort of interesting guide or download of some nature that people might download and kind of works. In these, when you're offering a lower value, lower friction offer to people, you're going to be much more likely to capture them with a low cost per click, and you're going to be able to capture more traffic and generate more conversions. And so you're more able to get people into your funnel and ultimately maybe get them to become a customer. Now, the thing to remember with this is these people are much further away from being a customer than somebody who's looking to have work done right now. So you're probably going to want to build up an email list. You're going to want to have some way of being able to nurture them with that email list. And then when they are looking to replace their roof, or they're looking for their next party, or whatever it is, they're going to look to you first because they remember the guide you gave them. They remember the maintenance review that you did, whatever it may be. And so they're much more likely to become a customer at that point in time. This is a much longer term game and requires kind of a whole different strategy to be successful. But again, if you're struggling to get people to sign up for your high ticket item, whatever it may be, a full roof replacement or something like that, and you just don't have the budget, but you need something to work on Google Ads, looking at a low friction offer maybe is going to be an option for you. Ultimately, budgets on Google Ads are really tricky and they can be very hard for local businesses to be successful with. It's kind of the chicken and the egg problem, right? Like you need the budget to make your campaign successful, but you also need the campaign to be successful to generate the budget to be able to spend that money. And so you kind of have to find yourself in a place where you have a budget that's realistic and that can generate results and show you that it's working so that you can spend more and grow over time. You're always going to kind of struggle, but one of the worst mistakes you can make is just trying to go in with $500 or $1,000 and nothing works. And now you're going to say, hey, Google Ads doesn't work for my business. Well, you probably just didn't actually have enough budget available to make it. The biggest thing with local businesses are they just very different and you need different advice to be successful. So that's where I come in. Let's make sure your business is getting advice that's built for it, getting the budget recommendations that make sense for your business. So tell me what your biggest Google Ads questions are for your local business. Leave it in the comments, shoot me a message, and we'll go into it on a future episode. I'm Jack Hepp. Thanks for tuning in to Jack of All Ads, and we'll see you next week.